A little bit more on George Bayer, the time factors in the stock market book. In the latter part of the book, he goes on and speaks on the critical degrees again in the section detecting the changes trend by means of critical degrees. And what he does here, he mentions these points, and he says when Mars or Jupiter arrive at these locations, we get a change in the market. And he's calling out critical degrees in each zodiac sign. He says 0, 5, 17, 25, and 30. 0 and 30 are basically the same thing. It's either 1 to 30 or 0 to 29 degrees in each sign. So he's basically looking at the ingress point, and then he's adding the 5, 17, and 25 degree points to that. So he says Mars or Jupiter singly will generate these changes in trend. You can also experiment and look at the outer planets. They don't come around too often. Then he says when using the smaller planets, you need to see 2 or more of these planets come together. And even a lot of times, 2 of these smaller bodies like Sun, Mercury, Venus, even 2 of those may or may not generate a decent change in the market. But I'm going to take a look at these geocentrically. So I spit out a copy of an ephemeris by sign. You can't really see the signs because I didn't change this to Alma font, but you can see the degree point, and we're going from 0 to 30 in each sign. And the places where I had 2 planets coming together, I highlighted in green, and I marked any of those or any of the larger planet points like Jupiter. I marked those in green because we can get a single large planet hit, and that should be effective. So you see where I just have a single planet hit. I didn't look at those as being a point to look at for a change in trend. Now I've missed these Mars points. I've got to add the Mars points in. I've added the Mars points in with the diamond on the chart. So anywhere Mars is involved with another planet will be an arrow, and where Mars is alone, it will be with a diamond symbol. So what I did, I just went down and highlighted the 0, 5, 17, 25, and 0 through the signs from, I started in March of 24, and I carried that out to November of 24. Those are all the points there in between. And I stopped that here around the 23rd, 24th of November was the last place I plotted that out. So you can see this section on the chart. Again, I'm going to stick with Bitcoin for this whole sequence because the idea is to see if George's ideas from this book pan out on a modern market that came into play 80, 90 years after George had written this material. So you can see how this kind of pans out. We're getting some good pivots. We're getting some minor pivots as well. So here's the first point with the Mars that I missed with another planet. There's Mars at the peak there. There's Mars alone, Mars alone. The diamonds are Mars alone. So you can see that going through the charts. The Mars points are pretty good. The Jupiter points are good also. They are probably the best, like he mentions. You'll get very few hits with the outers, but they're worth looking at and back testing. I'm not going to go through them, but you should definitely look at them. The two planet hits of Sun, Mercury, Venus, can be somewhat effective at times, but they're going to be a little less effective. Like here in this section, you've got a pivot, you got a pivot. These two are just kind of doing nothing in a sideways consolidation. I chose this section of the market because it was pretty much just a back. And then at the end of that time period, coming out here to November 23rd, where we had two hits and then the Mars hit over a 3 consecutive day period, and that turned the market down for 4 days. So these, if you're looking at the Mars and Jupiter as single hits and then looking at the others, the 2 planet hit, the Mars and Jupiter are going to be high probability. The 2 planet hits involving Sun, Mercury, Venus, I didn't add up and do the percentages, but they're probably going to be 60 to 65% good. And you're going to get a lot of times a small move that may not really be tradable. So to use the small planets only, I would definitely merge that with some other timing method, unless it fits a point where you're completing a pattern, or where you can expect a pivot reversal based on a pattern completion as well. Then if you have a 2 planet hit there, that's going to give you something decent. So I marked the Jupiter and Saturn hits. The first Jupiter hit was right here. That gave a weak up move. The next Jupiter hit was right here, early May of 24. Again, down for a week. This Jupiter hit right here, end of May, down for a week, but not much of a move, but still 5 days down. Saturn, a good down move for a week and a half. Coming forward, Jupiter here, a bottom inside a consolidation, went up for a week there. For some reason, I have a couple days of missing data here. Then I had a Pluto hit. Didn't really do much. Took a couple days, but then we got a short downtrend for 3 days, a couple days after the Pluto hit. And then that was the last one during this time period. So Jupiter and Saturn, pretty good. Should get at least a move of at least a week behind those planets. The other ones, like Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, I didn't really look at enough examples to make a determination. But looking at this, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, pretty good. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn with another planet or planets, good. Sun, Mercury, Venus, not as good, much less reliable. This would be a good timing tool to use with other timing tools or pattern and look for some convergence that way. But I wanted to point this out. This was the other piece on critical degrees. He also mentions finding critical degrees for a particular market. Now he's got these, he talks about these being somewhat universal. He talks about a certain degree point for wheat and a certain degree point for Philip Morris stock, and those have worked. I did find a couple of critical degree points in Bitcoin, so I'll come back and make another video on that, putting that onto a chart.